hip adduction, PAILS and RAILS. So hip adduction is when our leg is sort of coming across our body. So the opposite is abduction, it goes out. So this is our hip going across. What we're going to be doing to do this is we're going to be laying on our side, as I'll about to show you, and I'm going to try to get my spine up at an angle like this and my leg across. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my top leg, I'm going to pop it just over the front, so it's more like out of the way than anything else. And then I'm going to try to get a stretch along the side of my leg, side of the hip here, even a little bit up into the torso. The trick here though is when you get into this position, the natural thing will be to do what I'm doing now, which is you can see that my spine has a bit of a curve in it. If I have a spine with a curve in it, then the bottom of my spine is almost horizontal here, so my hips so I'm not really getting much adduction. So what I want to do here is I need to make sure that my hips are sort of changing angle like this, because the only thing that really matters here is where my femur or leg is in relation to my hip. So I'm going to get into this position here. I'm going to use my obliques, so the side of my torso here, and actually pull myself up. So almost like I'm doing a side plank here. So now my spine is straight. Now what I can do is actually, so I can get more of a stretch this way if I feel like I need to. This is going to be way too much for me. So you've got a couple of options. To get a nice stretch, you might want to be on your elbow and then do this. That might be enough. That might not be enough for you. You might need to get up onto your hand. But rather than being all the way here, because that's going to be impossible to keep your spine straight, just put your hand out a little bit further. So what we want to do is we want to be getting a stretch along the side here. So you get into this position. If you're doing the PAILS and RAILS, you're more than likely going to be doing this with a 2-minute stretch. Then you'll be doing a PAILS contraction, then a RAILS contraction at obviously different intensities as your program will tell you. So I'm just going to do this on my elbow. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get up into a nice stretch. Actually, I won't. I'll put it up on my hand. Here we go. I've got a nice stretch here. The other thing I want to make sure I'm doing or not doing is if I don't want to rotate around here, because now I'm going to feel it in the front, just make sure that everything's sort of lined up. Hips are sort of stacked on top of each other, which is why the leg's out the front. If I do my leg over here, notice my hips will turn out. So I'm in this position. I'm going to hold a nice stretch. Once the stretch is up, you're going to do a PAILS contraction, then a RAILS contraction. So the PAILS is the progressive side. So that's obviously the underside of the hip here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to effectively use this tissue that I can feel lengthened to drive my leg into the floor. So that PAILS contraction, so with your other hand, pop the hand there, take a big breath, and then I'm going to use that tissue to drive my leg into the floor. So I'm feeling like the side of the hip and my sort of the outside of my leg here driving that leg into the floor. That's the PAILS contraction. I'm going to do the RAILS contraction. I'm now going to be doing my best to lift my leg off the floor. So you're going to be using your adductors, all this tissue in here. And because you're in your passive range, there won't be any movement, obviously. And I'm going to do everything I can to lift off. This should feel very interesting, probably a bit crampy in your adductors. This is a range of motion and tissue you don't really use very often, but I'm doing my best to actually pull my leg off the floor. And also feeling like I'm using this tissue to pull my hips even more into that. So I'm trying to actively get more stretch. And that'll be 1 rep. Have a rest. See if you can get a little bit more of a stretch. What you'll probably find when you do your PAILS and RAILS contraction is you'll just lose a little bit of that straight spine just through fatigue over that time. So you'll probably just need a bit of a reset. So reset, get a bit more of a stretch if you can, then do PAILS and RAILS again. So once again, just to recap, you'll get onto your side, put that other foot over the front, get up into a position here with a straight spine. If you feel like you need a bit more stretch, get up onto your hand, but start with your hand out wide, because if you come up too high, there's no way you're going to have that kind of movement. So we get into the stretch, hold this stretch for 2 minutes, then your PAILS contraction, remember, for a PAILS contraction, obviously as the program goes, you'll be increasing your intensities, but particularly once you get up to higher intensities, or even at the lower intensities, you still want to brace your core. But when you get up to those higher intensities, you've got both hands on the floor, brace your core, big breath, and now we're going to ramp up really slowly, driving that leg into the floor. 20, 40, 60, 80, now it's to 100%, driving into the floor. And then reverse direction, doing everything I can to try to lift that leg. It's not coming because I'm in my passive range. I'm doing my best, isometrically loading this tissue. Whew. Relax. If you can, get into a bit of a bigger stretch. Remember, the bigger stretch isn't necessarily moving your hand and head closer. It can be just trying to get those hips angled more and the spine straighter. Then your second and third rep. And that is hip adduction, PAILS and RAILS. Enjoy.